Once I went to the workshop, I turned on ads that day because I was ready. Got my first leads like within a day. I'm not even sure, but it was not even a question sort of thing. And that month was bigger than any month I've ever done by 50%. And then the next month was double what I'd ever done before. I'm Luke and I'm from BizFlow Automation.
Amazing. And what was the problem that made you reach out to Where You?
I was spending many hours a week doing like networking events. So I would go wake up way too early in the morning and have to like talk with people I didn't know and try and convince them to work with me. They were mainly small businesses that weren't right for me either. So it was a lot of talking to people that weren't my ideal customer. And trying to explain to them what I did was it was really draining. And it was like at least 5 hours a week doing that.
Yeah, wow. Were you running any ads previously? What was the state of your ad account, if any?
No, I had none. I was just posting to socials, like reviews and things, just to have a presence, but that was it.
Yeah. Did you have any hesitancies before buying? Like, was Brandon kind of like a red flag to you? Like,
Um,
what was your
not
thought
a,
process? And
I remember the first ad I saw of Brandon was him with a whiteboard in probably like an old office. And he was explaining like the different steps in like remarketing or something. I don't even know. But I was like, oh, it's cool that he's sort of just like breaking down the barrier of like agencies are trying to make it seem super complicated, but actually all they're doing is X, Y, Z. And I saw that, so I like noticed it and I found it educational in itself. So I watched them, but I was nowhere near ready to buy because I had no revenue. I couldn't like afford the program or anything, even if I wanted to. Oh, that's not true. I could have afforded it out of like my own income, but it wasn't from the business. It wouldn't have been
yeah, yeah,
sustainable. I was making pretty much nothing at that point. But then I saw the ads for like the next 9 months, and I was just like, yeah, like it's cool. I didn't think it was like a scam, but I was like, you know, sounds too good to be true a little bit. And then he put up an ad saying, call out my bullshit, come to my webinar, and you can see for yourself whether it's legit or not. And I was like, sweet, oh, there's nothing to lose in going to the webinar. And then I rocked up late to it, I think, but he did a really good pitch at the end, and he gave me enough value in that to be like, oh yeah, I can see like how this would apply to me, and I can see how ads could work for me. Because before that, I didn't think ads made sense for my business. My biggest hesitancy was actually to ads in general was there's no way business owners, because I'm B2B, there's no way business owners are sitting there clicking on ads and then paying money to people on the internet. I just didn't believe that.
yeah.
And then I did it. And then I'm like, oh shit, I'm a business owner clicking on an ad and going to a thing. And that in itself made me realize that there's probably plenty of them. And then that was sort of what made me go ahead with it. It was
Yeah, he's
the
like a
webinar.
freaky genius, isn't he? He's just kind of like he convinces you, and then all of a sudden he exceeds expectation.
And
Hey,
And when he said, like, the art of advertising is just articulating the ideal customer's problem back to them. And if you can show that you understand the problem, then they're going to assume you have a solution for it.
mm.
And he said that to me. And he was also at the same time articulating the problems I was having. I was like, yeah, this all is starting to make sense. And I can see how it would apply to my business.
Yeah.
Um,
So what ended up getting you over the line in the end?
I think seeing in that webinar and seeing even the process of going as a lead myself, I was like, I'm learning so much from just being a customer in this machine as well. And I immediately applied the onboarding process I went through with you guys to my own business
Mm.
because I asked Brandon about it he was my like sales guy or whatever after. And he gave me some really good advice there and then as well. And being able to model it, I do it to this day. And Brandon's a big proponent of that. Is like, hey, I tried this thing. You guys should implement it in your business.
Mm.
That's been the biggest thing is just watching how Brandon does business.
Yeah,
Because
it's pretty cool.
yeah, despite like his first impressions and things, like he's a really good business person and he is genuine and he is, what's the word? Just like
Authentic.
Ethical. Like,
Yeah,
despite all of it, he still puts ethics above everything, which I think is important and
yeah.
something you've always got to balance as a business owner.
Yeah, there's no BS when it comes to him. Like he's exactly what you get, and like he's not here to take your money or a scam. Like he's literally in the interest of every single business he works with being his
Mhm.
bragging right. So
Yeah, exactly. And the
Yeah.
more, I think the more you talk to him, like the more you realize that, but it's hard through the ads to understand whether that is who he is or not.
Yeah.
And I think that was like, once he can get you to that next little stage, I know webinars are risky, but for me, like, I was like, there's no other way he would have got me. I would
Yeah.
have never clicked on the ad unless he said, like, come and do this free thing. But that's because I'm like a cheapskate. Oh, I was because I had no revenue, but now I
You
do.
wanted to put it from the business's revenue. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about this. What's changed? Where were you? Where are you now? And how long have you been
Yeah.
in the program?
Yeah, so I signed up for the program ages ago in like September of last year or
Hmm.
October, whenever that webinar was. And then I booked it as far out in advance as possible because I wanted to prepare for the workshop. And Brandon was like, you can just have all the program for free and your time doesn't start until you actually attend.
Mm.
So I was like, sweet, I don't want to deploy anything for before Christmas anyway. So I was going to all the workshops and everything, and just doing my old strategy. And then once I went to the workshop, I turned on ads that day because I was ready, and then got my first leads like within a day. I'm not even sure, but it was not even a question sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, we'll see how it goes for a month. And that month was bigger than any month I've ever done by 50%. And then the next month was double what I'd ever done before. And then we're here, and I'm about to do the same again because I haven't turned up the ads because I don't have the capacity to do any more right now. But I'm already making way more than I ever could have doing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm doubling it at the moment.
So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit more about that. Like your growth has now hit its ceiling because you
Mhm.
can't manage any more load. So the next step for you will to either be expand or tell me a little bit about that. Like what has all
Yeah.
these leads meant for your business professionally?
Yeah, it means I'm hiring an engineer now, as well. Not full time yet, but at some point I can. But for me, I'm a lifestyle business, so it will be about how can I make this much money or more um, without doing any more hours in my week. And that's the key. Rather than having to like go to more networking events and all of that, I can just spend more money on ads and retain my lifestyle as long as I can get someone to deliver the work.
Yeah, and when you've got such a good amount of volume and quality leads coming through, you've got more to pick from essentially. So you could make it
Yes.
harder for them to get to you. So or increase your rates or things like that because you're in more demand.
Yeah. Well, I've got like 20 leads sitting there at the moment that are just like too hard basket, but I know new leads are coming in tomorrow anyway, so I don't have time to follow them up because someone else tomorrow will come and happily pay me on the first meeting anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, well, why would I bother chasing this person up two, three, four times? 50% of them might close, but my time is better spent on the hot leads coming in because it just feels like it's like an infinite amount at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. And what has this meant for you personally?
Um, well, we didn't think we'd be buying property this year again so soon, but now that's looking like it's on the cards. So that's a massive change to like my life plan, I guess. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, the plan was to like just live in a little granny flat for like the next couple of years until the business was like at the point where it was stable enough to buy a house. But now it's like, well, fuck, why don't we just buy it this year? Like, we'll easily make repayments next year because I'm going to be double what I was expecting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's been the biggest change is like, yeah, that.
That's pretty insane. And particularly as well when like businesses first launch, like everyone's like, you don't make profit until, year 5 to 10 or like whatever it may
Mm,
be. It's like you can literally make profit if you're willing to invest in ads and
yeah.
marketing and be in that position to start bringing in good leads.
Yeah, and now at this point as well, like with the exec advisory calls, like Brandon's back on calls, which is great because when I first started, it was like, oh, I could see he was stepping out of the day to day a little bit because of the growth has just been astronomical. But I'm really glad he's doing calls again in the exec advisory because it's exactly what I need now. I'm like, oh, I'm at this ceiling. It's not just about turning up the ads. I know that option's there when I'm ready to, but there's all these other things I now need to figure out. And having Tim and Brandon on those calls is that's all I've been going to lately because the ads are fine.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Exactly right. And so, what would you say overall in your time in the program has been the most valuable thing for you? Is it the workshop? Is it chatting with Brandon? Is it
Yeah.
the advisory calls, the team, the support? Tell me about that.
Even though from a like knowledge point of view, you could get all the knowledge from an online course or whatever. Having someone there to tell me this looks shit, this looks good, this will sell, this won't sell. And me as a non-creative, just being like, okay, I've got an expert there telling me that this will work. Um, that was the thing that allowed me to turn on ads because I could have done the course and I could have made all the ads, but I would have never had the confidence to turn them on. And if they didn't work the first time, I would have just given up. But with this, I knew, oh, even if it doesn't work, switches, not dials, as Brandon always says, it's like it's not working perfectly, but there are things we can change. And then knowing that I had that backup to sort of troubleshoot things. I'd say the most helpful thing was the advisory calls. To answer your question properly, like the workshop, I had already watched a workshop, at least day one of it. So I kind of knew it was just reinforcing and taking in all the other perspectives in the room and everything when I was there.
Mm.
It wasn't like the first time I was seeing any of the content. But then it was also like a hard deadline. I'm like, if I can't turn on ads at the end of this, I'm a fucking pussy. You know what I mean? I'd set that in my head months earlier and I was so scared to do it. I even remember I got absolutely zucked right at before I turned on ads, I put $200 into the wrong ad account. And then Zuck just scooped it up and I couldn't get it out. I was like, oh, this is a horrible start. But then so I was like, this is bad. But I still turned them on that day and the $200 is meaningless now.
Mark's always trying to get you with some type of loophole, isn't he? We love him and
I
hate him.
used to hate him, but now he's my best mate.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And if anyone's on sitting on the fence about joining, what would you be telling them?
Um, just do it, I guess. I mean, I don't have any better advice. It's really hard to articulate that it's a real thing. But I mean, once you sort of see the amount of support, and I think what you guys are doing with like having heaps of advisory calls and everything, once people see that, they'll realize like this is legit. Actually, one thing I'd say, and it may not be relevant to the way you guys advertise, but the way I justified it in my head is like this is the same price as like a course at uni.
Mm,
And this is way more valuable in terms of what it can provide for me than all of my courses I ever did at uni.
mm,
So from a price point of view, that's how I justified the cost. I was like, chuck it on my Hextet sort of thing.
mm.
So that was sort of, yeah, the other thing that sort of made me rationalize it in my head.